Welcome back to Red Devils TV, everybody. The realest channel on YouTube is your Manchester United versus Crystal Palace preview. I am on holiday, so I'm going to try and keep this one a bit shorter than normal, but as well provide you with the best content and opinion on YouTube. But anyway, as always, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, comment down below your thoughts on this game, and give me your predictions in the comments down below. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, first of all, United are in great form. Now, 2 games, obviously, and since our loss against Liverpool, and 10 goals is what's come from this. Now, it doesn't matter about the opposition, in my opinion, because why is it that it's always Manchester United that when we beat a smaller team, it's only that team? Like, for me, that's completely disrespectful. Like, if City did it, if Liverpool did it, if Arsenal did it, they wouldn't say, yeah, well, it's only Barnsley. Oh, yeah, it's only Southampton. You expect to beat them teams. Well, yes, you do expect to beat them teams. But you've also got to consider and put the argument into the conversation of that it depends how you beat them teams. And Manchester United did it convincingly. The Barnsley game, we were miles better than them. The Southampton game, Southampton game, you looked at it and you're like, okay, Southampton you can tell what they're trying to do. They're a well-coached, possession-based side now. You know, they're not the sit-deep team and counter-attack team anymore. You know, they try to build out from the back. They keep the ball really well. They're very good at passing. So it's just having that end product and be able to have that good enough defence to see out games. But obviously, Crystal Palace are a miles different team when it comes to quality. Obviously, Mateta and Eze are the clear standout players that are the juggernauts, you could say, for the likes of Crystal Palace. We also can't forget the likes of Gahey and Adam Wharton. They do have a lot of good players. But with the form United are in, I don't see how we lose this. I'm honestly predicting 2-0, maybe 3-0 against United. And I get it. Selhurst Park is a very tough ground to go to. We got slapped there 4-0 in our last visit towards the end of last season where Casemiro got put on his backside. But today, this time's going to be different. 1, there's no Elise to nutmeg and send Casemiro back to the shops. And 2, Crystal Palace aren't in the best form. It seems like with the way that Crystal Palace ended the end of last season, they were on a new high. The new manager bounced everything about them. They were in sensational form. But it's like now the honeymoon period's over and, you know, the Crystal Palace manager is now just another ordinary mid-table manager, it seems. Let's not disrespect him, but the way their season started, depending on how it ended last season, I just feel like United will have too much quality. I mean, we've had pictures. Rasmus Hojlund has also travelled with the squad. Will he feature? I'm not too sure. But, you know, it gives you a massive bonus to see someone like Rasmus Hojlund being an option off the bench. But who should Ten Hag start with? Because this is a massive question on who is Erik Ten Hag's strongest 11 currently on form. Now, for me, I have to look at it like this, that how are Crystal Palace going to play in the first of all, so what team are you going to do? I feel like the back 4, back 5 speaks for itself. Onana, Mazraoui, Dalot, Dillit and Martinez. Now, Maguire and Evans played really well against Barnsley, but we all know who the starting centre-backs are in that mid-defence. So yeah, the back line is unchanged. The midfield's where it gets interesting because Ugarte had a very good run out against Barnsley, but I don't think Erik Ten Hag's going to start him. I generally think Erik Ten Hag's going to start Casemiro, Mainu and Bruno Fernandes. But then you also throw in the question, what's going to happen to Christian Eriksen? Because Eriksen's going to feel a part of that team now. He played well against Southampton and as well he played well against Barnsley. So Christian Eriksen's now going to feel like a part of the team. And how does Erik Ten Hag involve him in that type of game? Now, I feel like Casemiro will come in, but I don't think he'll play the full 90 minutes. It's having that defensive cover. Now, Erik Ten Hag might go bold. He might start Ugarte, but I just don't think he will. I feel like Mainu comes back in for Ugarte. If it was up to me, I'd prefer to see Ugarte, Mainu and Bruno in that midfield, but we haven't experimented with that trio yet. So whether he goes with Eriksen over Casemiro or Casemiro in midfield, that's the position that I'm confused about because maybe Mainu and Bruno as a double pivot and Eriksen as the creative midfielder could actually work, but then you're really lacking that defensive stability in midfield and could we get overrun? Because, you know, Crystal Palace have a good midfield. We can't disrespect them. They are a very good side. But just based on current form, I think United have just got way too much quality for them. And our morale is at an all-time high. And the front line, if it was up to me, Marcus Rashford and Garnacho have to start. But who starts? Is it Xerxes? Ahmad? Anthony won't start, but you've got to throw him in the conversation because, he scored a goal against Barnsley. Now, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that you've got to start Xerxes, in my opinion. I really think you do, because his link-up play is not being highlighted enough. And Xerxes reminds me of one of them players. I don't think he's going to be a fan favourite, but he's going to be such an important player in this team. We're going to take him for granted, I think. And the way I see him, because he's not I know he's big, I know he's strong, he's like that bold striker, but it's the whole thing about him being a 9.5, not a striker, like not a number 9, etc. Like, the way I see it, I just personally believe that Xerxes will start because he really helps us with build-up in possession, and especially through the middle. I've also seen him a few times dropping into midfield and helping the likes of Bruno or Mainu at times. And the balls he produces out wide to the likes of Rashford, Garnacho and Ahmad, he's really underrated at the moment. And I'm not going to put him in there as a category with top 10 strikers in the Premier League. But for what he offers something different. We know this about Xerxes. He offers something unique, something that Rasmus Hojlund wouldn't. But Rasmus Hojlund also offers something different that Xerxes wouldn't. But if it's up to me, my final 11 would honestly be Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, or Mazraoui, whoever didn't say. You got Casemiro or Eriksen, Mainu, Bruno, and then Xerxes, Rashford, Garnacho. That would be my starting 11, because Garnacho as well, we've not even talked about him. He's an absolute fire. 2 starts, and what's he got? In like 6 games, and he's got 2 braces already. I don't even know how many goals he's got. But the thing is about Garnacho is that he's on form, and the way Erik Ten Hag's managing him, I really, really like it. Rashford's on good form as well. 2 goals in 2 games, or is it 3 goals in 2 games now? It doesn't matter about the opposition, and that's what I want going into this game. Crystal Palace are a much better side than what the teams we've recently faced in Southampton and the likes of Barnsley. But at the end of the day, it's just like trying to avoid making them silly mistakes we did against Liverpool, because that's what cost us. Liverpool were the better team, let's be honest about that. But at the same time, the way I look at it is that, how do we avoid making the mistakes? Because I think Crystal Palace will look at it and be like, okay, if they start Casemiro, we know what to do, put him under pressure. But 2 men on him pressing at all times, force him to make a mistake, and have a third runner targeting the likes of Mainu or Bruno and go on a quick counter-attack or build it up around Casemiro. So I do see Casemiro as a big issue in our midfield, but you still can't deny his quality, and the fact that he's had a few games now where he's obviously the game against Southampton, he got dropped. He started against Barnsley, but the way I see it is that maybe just adjusting him back in is the right thing to do. I don't think Agate is ready personally, but you've brought in the defensive midfielder for a reason. You've brought in a midfielder who's going to be winning a lot of tackles. And that's what we're missing in our midfield. And Mainu or Bruno, whoever sits in that double pivot alongside Agate, I feel like that we've got a better midfield than the likes of Agate and like Eriksen and Casemiro, for example, if that was a midfield route that Erik Ten Hag wanted to go down. So I'm really looking forward to how Erik Ten Hag does set up in this game. But I am going to stick with my predicted 11. Like I said, I'm going to stick with 2-0 or 3-0 to United. Maybe an Eze goal, because Eze as well, we know how good Eze is, and Mateta. They are juggernauts for that team, and they do deserve bigger clubs, in my opinion. And the fact that United are actually interested in Eze, I feel like that'd be a good signing for us personally. But the question is, what happens to Mason Mount? I mean, I get it. Eze is a lot more versatile than someone like Mason Mount, where Mason Mount, you can see he's more beneficial in the midfield, where Eze is equally as beneficial on the wing than he is through the middle. So what would happen to Mason Mount if we was to sign Eze? But I don't think we'll sign Eze. I think it's just transfer rumours. And I would be all over the deal personally if we didn't have Mason Mount. But obviously we do have Mason Mount. But It's just that Mason Mount's also still trying to find his way into this team, and how do we rotate him? And obviously with the constant injuries as well, it's really hard for Mason Mount to establish himself in this team, because I don't think Mason Mount's put in that bad of performance where he's been at United. It's just not being available, and that's the only downside since Mason Mount signed for Manchester United. But would I take Eze at United? Yes. Do we need to be careful of Eze? Absolutely. He's good at set pieces. He's very creative. He's got an eye for goal. We know how good he is. And I feel like that a lot of teams should have gone in for him this summer, because I think he might have a bit of a shaky season this season personally. But we'll have to see how it goes. But anyway, as always, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. Comment down below your thoughts on this game. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.